It's day 62 of Art Every Day. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I've been trying to do a little bit of art every single day, hopefully for an entire year is the end goal. So today's video, I'm just going to be doing a little practice. So the way these videos usually go so far, it's just a chill time to learn for myself, play some music, hang out, almost kind of treat this like a live stream. So I'm not going to be showing you anything new. If you want to learn how to draw excuse me, if you want to learn how to draw like Studio Ghibli or paint like Studio Ghibli, I've got a link down below for the person who I'm learning from. And I think her channel's pronounced Okija, but she's doing amazing work. There's a lot of Ghibli-inspired stuff, so check her out if this is something that you're interested in. Otherwise, if you're down to just hang out here for a little while, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm kind of on a tangent. But anyways, goal for today. So yesterday I did a little bit of a study where I went through and I practiced how to paint or draw certain plants. I'm not happy with this color. Much better. Paint or draw certain plants. And just sort of getting an idea for some patterns for plants. And so today, I'm going to deviate a little bit from what she does in her tutorial video that I'm basing this off of, but again, that's in the description. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small patch of grass that exists in this painting. So it'll probably be this patch here. And I'm just going to try and copy that. Just going to try and replicate that one-to-one as close as I can. And already I'm noticing a lot of tiny differences in how I thought that it looked and how it actually looks. So when I just draw off to the side a little bit, I thought it was something like this, and then you've got just the grass that comes up, some plants that come out. And I thought all of these edges were just grass blade shapes to sort of emphasize in contrast against the shadow in the background. But it looks like there's a lot of very small, fine brush strokes in here. Oh, shit, done that layer. Oh well. Like these here. So all these little tiny brush strokes that adds a lot of texture and a lot of visual interest. These kind of get overshadowed by the rest of the shape here, but I think they're important for... Dang it. They're important. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and close that out and open up my reference image on the side. So I'm just replicating that. And so what she does as well is she identifies areas that are going to be shadow and areas that are going to be light. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick a color out. I have a hard time with greens, picking out the right green, quote unquote. There are so many shades of it and so many types of it that it can be hard to pick one. And so what I'm going to do is go for one that kind of looks like this. This will be my light green. It almost looks too like lemon or neon, so I'm gonna go even lighter than that. Shift it yellow a bit. And then get a thicker brush here just for a moment. So first thing I'd notice, it's just the shape of the ledge here. It kind of goes out, it juts out, cuts back in, juts back out again, cuts back in again, juts back out a little bit. So we've got some texture here to look at. And then we've got the darker shadowed areas, which I'm going to shift this blue a little bit more again and go for a darker value. Maybe that's a bit too dark. It's way too saturated, I think. It's hard to tell on a white background. And it's especially hard because of how many shades of green there are. My eye doctor thinks that I'm red-green colorblind, but I think it's just when you put certain shades of red and certain shades of green next to each other, they start to jumble up and mix up in my brain. It just doesn't... I can tell the difference, like I can tell when something's red and I can tell when something's green, but some hues, some lighter hues, desaturated hues, I have a harder time with when you put them next to each other. And I don't think this is really the right color green as well, now that I'm looking at it. So I'm going to shift even more desaturated, and forgive me, I've been a bit sick for the past couple of days or so. This looks kind of nice. Like that. Just gonna get the paint bucket tool and call that a day. So I've been a little bit sick, so I haven't been feeling like I'm in tip-top shape. But that's just how it is sometimes. And another thing I'm gonna point out, I'm doing this in Photoshop. In her video, she's using, I think they're gouache paints, and could be poster color paints. I know she does those as well, but I think it's gouache. So mixing and matching colors when you're using pigments and paints like that, what I've been finding as I've been exploring pigments and paints, physical media, they can feel much more cohesive, and I think they're easier to pick colors from, or even make and mix colors from. Whereas with this, you have to just open up a color wheel and just gut check and just say, yeah, it's probably something like that, if you're not familiar with the colors like I am now. So what I'm gonna do here to start out, looks like there's a lot of texture in different varieties of green, and I wish this was a bit more of a watercolor effect brush. Maybe I could switch it around at some point, because these should blend together the same way that watercolors and gouache do. But for now, it's just gonna have to look a little sketchy. That's okay. It's okay. There are a lot of different hues and shades of green in here. So there's some slightly darker green in here. Just a tiny difference on the color wheel makes such a big difference when you're looking at it with your eye, which always surprises me. There's some things I'm noticing in here as well, like just some flowers and daisies that I didn't notice before. I'm gonna shift this a bit more blue again, and a little bit darker, as I'm building up a shadowed area behind it. It's not fully in shadow, but there is a part that juts out behind. Something like that. And now I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna try and pick some colors and make some textures. I should go through and clean up the monitor. I think it's clean, but I'm feeling some texture on it as my hand goes back and forth. So maybe it's like something on the monitor, or maybe it's a scratch. I really hope it's not. go smaller on this again. So 40. Now she does this a bit different. She goes in with some of the lighter values later on, where I'm going in with some of these lighter values a bit early. And I don't think that there's a right or wrong way to do that. Maybe it's just a matter of what point you're at in the scene. So that's my thought on that. This doesn't have to be a perfect one-to-one, but practicing the same principles that they're using. That's the goal here. And I think I'm going to change something up. I'm going to get a rough value match for the background that looks like it could be the color of everything going on behind. There we go. And now you can sort of feel the shadow of the hill behind it, instead of having this light green pop out as a darker color on the white. It's popping out as a highlight from the darker greens. So just doing that to get that effect. Let's see if I can piece it together a little easier. This has an interesting piece because there's hanging off the side of the cliff or the hill. Are a couple of plants. And doing this with the Photoshop tool, I still have issues because I don't know how to get the shapes to look just so, because I'm still playing around with how the pen pressure works. But I am having fun with it. Don't want these to look too uniform or in a line. Anything like that. Just sort of playing around. There's some flowers that come off the top of that. And it does look like there's a very light, not light, but hidden green in the background there. That suggests some kind of stem for the plant. Where these ones, it's not really so much of a... But we do get some dark green there. Let's try this. I think I did the order of operations wrong here. So there's a leaf like that coming down. There's a leaf that goes across it. You can see it. The shadow underneath. It's just like a tiny, tiny detail for a single leaf, but I guess it does help it pop out from the others. And so that has me wondering, how long do they actually spend on each of these, right? It's got to be a huge time sink. I watched a video where they interviewed a Ghibli artist and asked a lot of questions. I thought really great questions like that. And so maybe I'll link that down below if I can find it. But I guess they would try and pump out as many as quick as possible, because there's so many scenes that it's almost too, how do I say? Not that there's too many scenes, but there's a lot for them to get through, a lot for them to do, a lot of work to be done. If you've got got a deadline for these. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. It's the tool. Digital is different from gouache, period, and I think I've gotta just reckon with that fact. Some more of these vertical lines that are just under in here. Just a lot of these, which I was surprised by. There's some dark shadowed areas in there as well. But a lot of just grassy looking. There's really something wrong with this. I'm not. Excuse me. Okay, I think this is a time to try a new brush. Oh, there's the wet blender. You can just blend the colors together. That's kind of nice. It's very nice. Okay. What if I did this on a larger brush? Just sort of push some into there, push some into there. That works pretty well. That works pretty well. That works well. To go back and fix some of this, but so there's one option. Using there's a oil brush too, and the oil brushes blend in with the colors underneath. So I might try some of that. I don't think that's gonna work the way that I hoped it would. So I'm gonna go back to the other brush here. Yeah, this has been a kind of a boring weekend too, because I wanted to go out and do stuff with people, but because of the sickness and because of, I don't know, time, money, it's just nothing really worked out. I had a friend, it's funny, it feels like sometimes sickness will just hit you at the worst time possible. I mean, you never have it in your schedule, right? Like, you're not expecting to get sick, you don't hope to get sick. But sometimes, this happened to my friend, it really is just at the worst time possible. So he took, I think, 2 weeks vacation off, or an entire week of vacation off of work. So a lot of time, a lot of paid time off that he'd been saving. And then he caught mono, and for about a week straight he was just stuck in bed, couldn't breathe and couldn't sleep, and he said it was like one of the most hellish weeks he'd ever had, because like he couldn't fall asleep, right? Like, it's just delirium. Honestly, that sounds awful. I can't believe that he made it through that. Does that blend in with the brown or the gray? It does. Interesting. Let's try and get it darker as well. Here. Blend that up too. So a lot of experimenting today, it looks like. So I don't think I was expecting to do all this, but I'm quite happy with how it's coming out. And not only learning how to paint what I'm seeing, but use some of the tools that Photoshop has. Now I think, now that these are blended a little bit more, it's going to be easier to see how much this sticks out. Which may be a bad thing. Maybe a bad thing. Maybe that's just normal. Maybe that's okay. Some of these, let me just do that all in this mid-light. There we go. Some more of this kind of layering in. Blend these together. Even more of that right there. In the mid-grow. What else am I spotting here? Let's do something like that. Sometimes I wonder how much I should be talking and how much I should be just focusing on what I'm doing. So, it feels like I'm being too quiet for too long. Let me know down below. If it feels like this is just the right amount of chilling out and then commentary in between. Let me know that as well. So I'm just trying to do my best to learn, and then this just make this fun for you all as well. Yeah. So not all of these areas are, you know, they don't all have grass blades to differentiate. But I'm gonna add some in just because I think that would look nice. And I'm gonna do something similar over here. Looks like there's a plant that sticks up like that. That. I'm not sure how they do these, but some of these brush strokes It looks like they've got like a almost a highlight on the outside and then darker color on the inside. But it's for blades of grass that are like this big. So I don't know how the heck they do that. Maybe they load the brush in a certain way. Or maybe they took extra time for that. Extra time, extra care. And the extra time and the extra care shows the final result. Looks like this is kind of on a ledge down below. So what I'm going to do is draw in this, and then I'm going to use that blending tool to imply that the ledge is there. And then I'm going to go in with that brush again. Just add some details that suggest that as well. Huh. Now for these flowers as well, I'm gonna get started on these. So they are kind of like a light red, but they're, I think maybe it's just like a trick of the eye, something like this. Got this sort of red. I think because it's a bright day, it sticks out in a way. And maybe this is, not sure how this works, but there is another plant in here. Shift that yellow. It's almost like there we go. You can kind of see some smaller flowers in and underneath. Something like that. There we go. And I think what I'm gonna do is clean up and round out around here. Up top here, and then cut off that and call that a day, because this is feeling really nice. This is feeling like I'm learning and I'm making some progress, both with how to draw and paint these things, but also just how to use the tools that I have. Just it's a neat feeling. A little bit here. Maybe that'll work. Yeah, it kind of does work. Blend that with the gray. I'll cut that off later, but for now, just gonna keep going. And then there's, it looks like another divot in the hillscape here, and maybe a chunk of earth that kind of sinks underneath. So this is all lower. Use that brush again. Something like this. Okay. We'll go in and we'll do the same thing we did on the other side. Surprised that there's some blades that are downward facing. It's a different plant from the others there. But we've still got that are maybe similar color, similar value. And the more there's like blades that almost shouldn't even exist that pop up out of the earth underneath. So I'm just gonna hint at that. This is kind of what it looks like and what it feels like when you're looking at it. Patches underneath as well. Look. I won't get too into it. Some more plants up here. Some flowering plants here. Darker. Some almost like red, push it more yellow. Still looks really red on the background here. Just a hint of red, like a smudge of red here and there. The hint that there should be a flower. Same up there, down there. And a couple of... Holy cow, how detailed did they get? I'm looking at this. It's like the way that this tiny blob is. It's almost exactly like a flower shape would be. It's probably just a simple brushstroke. There is a little bit of a pink matches this value. Sort of darker value blends into the background almost. So we'll see if I can find that pink. Yellow. Something like that. Yeah. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through, cut this off, and clean this up. And there's my study for today. Maybe I could go back and I could fix this if I wanted to. But I think for what I wanted to do today, this is plenty. This is more than enough. And I'm quite happy with it. I'm happy with how it came out. I had a lot of fun making it. So if you enjoyed watching this, if these are some videos that you can get behind, feel free to subscribe, follow along, do your own art while I'm doing some art too. Yeah. So thanks again, and hope I'll see you tomorrow on day 62.